Tuesday, January 8th, the Council of Ministers took an important decision for the future of St. Martin. A decision that serves to guarantee the full reconstruction of Princess Juliana International Airport in the fastest possible manner. On the request of the airport, the Council of Ministers unanimously approved $100 million in financing from the World Bank and the European Investment Bank for the full rehabilitation of the airport terminal. As Prime Minister and as the Minister responsible for the cooperation with the World Bank, I have been closely involved with the preparation of this decision and with facilitating the request of the airport to obtain funding from the World Bank Trust Fund. On your urging, Madam Chair, on your urging, I have come to Parliament today to explain the Council's decision. Unfortunately, the responsible Minister for the airport, Mr. Stuart Johnson, is unavailable to join me here today. But I'm certain that he will make himself available to answer any remaining questions that Parliament may have after today's meeting. Where's your switcher? Madam Chair, I would like to start today's meeting by giving the members of Parliament and the people watching at home a factual overview of the events that led up to the decision of the Council. The logical starting point of this overview is the request for financial assistance from the Trust Fund that was sent by the airport to the Council of Ministers in April of last year. One day after the establishment of the Trust Fund, the airport submitted a written request asking the government of St. Martin to, and I quote, explore possible means in which the World Bank can assist with the financing of the reconstruction of the airport, unquote. In its letter, the airport requested assistance in the amount of $64 million based on the following factors, and I quote, the lack of timely receipt of approximately $104 million in the submitted insurance claim to NAGICO, lack of liquidity, inability to access either local bank or capital markets, and reduced operating revenues, unquote. Madam Chair, this request is important to keep in mind. It was the airport that requested the government to explore financial assistance through the World Bank because of the disagreement with NAGICO and the inability of the airport to loan on the private market. The government's role and my role as Prime Minister has simply been to facilitate this request by urging the World Bank and the government of the Netherlands to help the airport with its reconstruction efforts. Madam Chair, at the time that the Council received the airport's request, it was uncertain what amount the airport would receive from NAGICO. Another unknown factor was the actual amount that the airport would require for the reconstruction of the terminal. A full project plan with a financial substantiation was not ready as yet. The requested $64 million was simply a first estimate on the additional funds that the airport would require for the reconstruction of the airport. Despite these uncertainties, the Council of Ministers decided that no time should be wasted to get the airport back up and running. The Council, therefore, unanimously agreed to submit the airport's request to the steering committee for decision-making. Madam Chair, the steering committee of the Trust Fund convened for the first time on June 12 of 2018 and again on July 14 of 2018. And during these first meetings, the airport's request for financial assistance was brought forward by St. Martin's representative in the steering committee, Mr. Marcel Gomes. On the recommendation of Coalition, St. Martin's position in the steering committee was twofold. Firstly, the airport should receive the requested $64 million as a loan and not as a grant, to ensure the urgent reconstruction of the terminal. Secondly, as a guarantee that the money would be spent properly, St. Martin, represented by Mr. Gums and myself, offered to open up positions in the holding to the Netherlands. After extensive discussions, the steering committee agreed with St. Martin that the economic risk of delayed reconstruction due to the ongoing disagreement with NAGICO justified financial assistance from the trust fund, but only if there would be no other financing options available in the private or public sector. It was decided that the World Bank would work closely with the airport on a full project plan and explore additional financial options, including possible financing from the European Investment Bank and APS. The goal would be to limit the contribution of the trust fund to the reconstruction of the airport so that the relevant funds could be used for other important recovery projects.
Tell them, connecting you.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Madam Chair, I was a bit surprised to see how fast this meeting was on the agenda for this week, as we called the meeting last week. And as you stated earlier before, that basically the urgency of meetings falls on your shoulders. And I also took note, and I want to take 2 minutes out of my time to address your recent press release, where you mentioned a couple key things. You mentioned that bringing a minister to Parliament should be a decision of the Parliament, and that your role in Parliament is to facilitate. But your role recently has not been facilitating other members of Parliament. It has been obstructing us and basically dictating to us on what meetings we could call and when we could call them. And you also mentioned that, yes, you were on the other side before. You've also been the longest serving chair, I believe. If I'm wrong, you may correct me. And I would like to know when your stance change on how and when urgent meetings should be called, and how we as members of Parliament would know what is urgent. Madam Chair, if you would like to facilitate the members of parliament, let's have a meeting and call a meeting then on how we as members of parliament should handle urgent meetings. What is an urgent meeting? Let's have a debate among the members of parliament to address this, not via the media every time. Yes, we have been complaining about the way how you have been handling and calling the meetings. Yes, we've been annoyed by the ways. But like I said, no meeting has been called on how you want to address it in Parliament. Also in your press release, you said, you have stated time and time again that the rules of order is being upgraded and is an ongoing process. An ongoing process with who? With whom? Why are we not involved? Who makes the decisions? Is it only the input of the chair? Is it the Parliament of the chair? Madam Chair, and we had a meeting with the airport back in November, and it's been 3 months since then, and you mentioned that it's not your prerogative to drag a minister back into Parliament. No, but it is your duty to facilitate the communication to the members of Parliament that the minister or the Parliament or the airport or the harbour cannot make it back. Yes, that is your role, to communicate back to us the reasons why they couldn't make it. Yes, that is your role. Well, that's what I believe, at least. I have to make sure for that in.
During the course of the meeting, some questions were actually posed to the chair. And while in our constellation there is no place for questions to the chair, I guess the questions were rhetorical in nature. As I mentioned, there's no place to ask the chair questions. However, I think it's important, especially where the matter of the rules of order are concerned and where we are with the revision to the rules of order, to just encourage the members of parliament to check with their faction leader regarding this. And those persons would be able to supply them not only with an update, but also the matters that are under consideration for revision. As for those who feel they should question the chair of parliament, rhetorical or otherwise, let me just remind them that my task is as follows: directing the task of Parliament and of the Presidium, ensuring compliance with the rules of order, maintaining order during the deliberations and suspension thereof, and executing the decisions taken by Parliament as well as representing the Parliament. Until otherwise decided by Parliament, I shall use my judgment in carrying out the task of the President of Parliament. So, of course, members are free to say whatever they want, but then don't be surprised when, if not from this chair, I respond to insinuations levied at the chair of Parliament.
Hello, St. Martin. My name is Stephanie Medina, and I play football with the Walichi Women's Soccer team. I have represented St. Martin in many different games. For example, the Dutch Caribbean Women's Soccer Cup. I played against Bonaire, Aruba, and Curacao right here in this stadium. Sports matter to me because it makes me happy, it keeps me fit and healthy, and it is very fun. So I ask the business community to take on this challenge and will help us rebuild our facilities. And I also ask the community to nominate the local businesses in your area and take on the challenge and step up for sport. Why? Because sports matter. Check out the Department of Sport Facebook page for more information. Hashtag sports matter. Hashtag are you in?
Hey ma, how you doing? You busy?
I hear, just paying some bills, taking care of business, you know what it is?
I know, you're doing your online banking.
I don't have to stand in those long lines to pay bills. I can transfer when I want. I can check my account wherever. It's like the bank open 24/7. I even here checking the statement right now as we're talking. How's Miami?
Well, that's why I'm calling. I'm finishing up a few songs now, but I'm afraid that studio time might be more than I thought. And I was wondering if I could get some help with some funds, and I could pay you back as soon as I get back to St. Martin.
Let me check my account. How much you need?
I think 500 should be enough.
I can transfer it to you while online. Direct from me to you. No problem.
Great. Thank you so much, Ma. I'll get online with Viv now.
Alright, darling. You know who you're for?
I need to know who you're for.
Contact Wib today for your complete personal online banking experience. Available for all mobile devices. The Wynwood Islands Bank, now your online banking partner in progress.
Who you're for.
I felt very unprepared for the Hurricane Irma. I don't know if it has to do because I recently returned from Holland after being away for almost 17 years. We came back in December of 2016, and Irma hit September 2017. So we had just moved in with my mother in a house that is on the property. And that is what got destroyed. My daughter was there talking about it. So we had to, when the hurricane came, we thought it was safe. But when everything started to hit on the house, debris flying all over, we had to go into a house next door, which is my sister's home. So that is where we stayed until the hurricane ended. I don't think anyone thought about the children really and how they think about things. We think maybe that they are too young to understand, but they do understand a lot. My daughter, as I explained, we recently moved here, so it was her first hurricane experience. So she didn't understand what was happening around her, and so I believe preparedness is very important, that the children know and understand what is happening to them. I mean, at home we explain to her what is happening, but how do you explain that to, at the time she was 6, she's 9 now, but how do you explain that to a child who, has never experienced a hurricane before? So I think so, because they are the future of tomorrow, and I think starting from small to help them to understand that you live in a hurricane zone, what do you do, how do you prepare yourself is very important.
At the time of the hurricane, were you prepared for this hurricane? We just heard from Eliani that the teachers told at the Ruby La Vega, told her or told the class how to prepare more or less and what to do, how to take things and put in plastics and bags and plastic bags. Were you prepared at school? No? Nobody prepared you, so you didn't have an idea of how a hurricane usually is. You ever experienced a hurricane before?
Yes, but not that bad.
But not this bad. So you did not have the slightest clue that this hurricane was going to be something more than the one that you experienced, I think probably was Gonzalo?
Yes.
Yes. So Gonzalo was a lot of rain and wind.
Yeah.
I feel that we had a cross-section of students. Some of them were very young, and some of them were, I had one student that was already in secondary education, so she could have, detailed her feelings, and it came out that she was shocked. And I believe that all the students here had the same experience. Those in elementary, they also had this emotional shock when they came and they saw. For them, it was the first experience of such a nature, because if you heard, especially those in elementary, they experienced Hurricane Gonzalo. So for them, the story of a hurricane is not at least that type where they would expect to be actually in that predicament where they would lose their home and a lot of their belongings. For those children, especially the ones that lost their clothes, you could hear still, even though they are a year behind, that for them would be the next step anytime in a preparedness for hurricane that they would secure. They would make sure put their things in plastic bags and also in a bin to secure them. So basically, you can see that this experience has taught them more of a responsibility also of how to prepare for the hurricane. So they would know how to deal with their personal things on that level anytime there is a next hurricane. And basically, you can sense from the feelings that the family for the students, these children, is very important, because they were clearly telling you, once I pack my stuff, I would check with my family if they have any plans, what are the plans, so that we would know in case of anything of surprise, what is plan B. So, for example, some of the kids were at their grandma's home, and when they experienced this hurricane and they had to run, it's the whole family have to run, and you go to a safer place. They are also aware of the fact that building back better and stronger would also be a norm for the future. So basically, I think it was a very fruitful talk with the students, and it really gave them the opportunity to express themselves, but however, to also look at not only their home situation, their school situation, and in addition to that, to look at the community as such in which they live.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
Martin's students. The study financing process is not yet completed. Applications will continue to be reviewed, supporting documents will be collected, and then the decisions will be made on approval. However, given the steep decline in the number of applications actually received, I have approved an extension of the application period until January 31st, 2019. Therefore, let me repeat, the application period for the general study financing has been extended from January 15th through January 31st, 2019. Also, applications for study in the region program are still being accepted. That deadline is January 31st, 2019, and all persons interested in any of the study financing options available must make use of this opportunity to get applications submitted online along with their supporting documents. A note concerning Gifted Royalty Awards nominees. The Gifted Foundation is continuing to honor young people, males and females from among our high schools who have been making positive and outstanding contributions to their school and to the wider St. Martin community. This year, there are more than 40 nominees for awards as Young Kings and Young Queens in the areas of academics, athletics, community service, expressive arts, and leadership. These nominations are a symbolic representation of the great number of focused youth on our island. This is a good reminder for us at this time when negative news seem to be bombarding us, especially as it relates to our young people. However, these nominees for Gifted Royalty Awards should be shared and celebrated in our community and on social media for their achievements. Congratulations to all the Royalty Awards nominees. You are all young kings and young queens.